Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our Hersey Hoops basketball podcast. My name is Connor Durkin. Alongside me, my fellow host, Connor Krebs, joined today with head basketball coach Austin Scott, as well as senior Josh Cataldo. Before we get into questions today, I just wanted to ask you guys, how was your long break? Have a good Thanksgiving?
Yeah, good Thanksgiving break.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Always an enjoyable holiday. What'd you do for Thanksgiving, Josh? You guys travel?
No, not really. We just went to Wheaton to visit my uncle's house.
Okay. Yeah, I was in Park Ridge at my wife's parents, so that was good. You know, good meal.
There we go.
How about you guys?
Nothing too special. Just like the family, just me, my sister, my brother, and my parents really this year. My grandparents couldn't come, so it was just a very chill Thanksgiving.
Yeah. We always go to my grandparents for Thanksgiving.
Where's that?
BG.
Okay.
So,
I could see you being a big, like, pumpkin pie guy, Krebs. Is that...
I mean, I'm actually not a Thanksgiving guy. Like, my family, we don't do Thanksgiving. Like, most people, like, we just kind of, like, shit. We go, like,
eat pasta and stuff?
No, we eat, like, the same food. It's just, like, we don't, like care that much. Like, Thanksgiving's not, like, our holiday. It's more like Easter and Christmas.
Okay.
Big Easter family.
Big Easter family. Get the Krebs in the pastels. Dressed in pastels.
Yes.
Love it.
All right, so let's get into these questions here. Over break, you guys had your Palatine Thanksgiving tournament. And with that being your first test of the season, what did you guys take away from it? And what are you guys looking to improve on?
I think it was a really good test to start off the season. I mean, the first game alone, that was just a crazy environment, like an away game, packed house, and I really think it'll be like a really good teaching point for like the rest of the season because we're going to be in a lot of those environments, and I think it was just really helpful to start the season out that way.
Yeah, adding on to what Josh said, I think we learned a lot about ourselves. I think we learned where our technical deficiencies are as a team. And I think we learned where our strengths are and what we can kind of rely on and what has to be our backbone identity-wise moving forward. We played 4 really good teams in Palatine, Stevenson, Cary Grove, and Jacobs, and we're really challenged in a way that I think is going to help us improve. But, I think we learned, offensively we're going to have to manufacture points a little bit and maximize opportunities, and then defensively, we have to lead from the front with our effort. And I think our rebounding and our on-the-ball defense improved a lot over the course of 4 games, and that's something that, if you can defend and rebound, you can stay in games and be competitive throughout. And our offense is going to improve. Like, that's my job to put these guys in positions where they can succeed offensively, and we'll do that. So there's a lot of room to grow, obviously, but I thought, a really good learning experience for us to understand kind of what it takes. And it was a lot of guys' first experience with varsity basketball. Obviously, Jackson and Carson and Jared Rigg got their first taste, and then these juniors who didn't get a ton of time last year on the floor in varsity minutes, who've become seniors, got their first action of what it looks like out there and how competitive and scrappy and physical it is. So a lot of good stuff to build off of.
Yeah, in that first game and kind of throughout the weekend, there's a lot of subbing, a lot of guys getting in. And do you plan to keep that throughout the season, or do you kind of want to shorten the rotation where you kind of just letting everyone get a shot? How is that? What's your thought process with that?
Yeah, so, at the Thanksgiving tournament, I always kind of give like 11, 12 guys a chance, and then, the lineup in many ways is a meritocracy. Like, who's producing, whose minutes are more valuable than others, and then the pecking order kind of establishes itself. I'm not saying we're going to get down to 6 or 7 guys like some teams do, but I think, the comfortable rotation is probably going to be about 8 or 9, and unfortunately now, we have some guys that are on the shelf a little bit with injuries. Sam Fiore's going to be out 6 weeks with a broken finger. Braden's nursing a groin injury from football. We got Quinn Mullen back now, but Schiffman's been out with a back injury too. So, with 20 guys, you're never really at full strength. There's always some guys injured and things like that. But I think in terms of lineup, we'll probably get down to where 8 or 9 guys are playing at least 8 minutes a game or something like that. And then, obviously, the more you produce, the more you play, and the best players play. So we have to we have to understand, where our value is coming from on the offensive and defensive end. And guys are really competing for spots. It's a pretty open competition right now. So I think that that's good from a practice standpoint and from a game standpoint as well.
When you are working with underclassmen, especially like the sophomores and juniors who haven't gotten much varsity experience yet, does your way you approach that coaching-wise change at all, or is it typically just change the same for every player?
I think I'm a little more patient with juniors and underclassmen. I don't know. You might have to ask Josh this one. But, for example, freshmen and sophomores, they don't know what they don't know. Mm-hmm. So, for example, in the Jacobs game, Carson Grove was taking the ball out of bounds. I told him in the timeout to throw it into the backcourt and take as much time as possible. He decides to throw it to the corner, and the guys get trapped and we have to call another timeout. So, and then addressing that in film with Carson, he's like, yeah, I thought I could just, kind of throw it to who's open. I'm like, that's not the way it works. So, sometimes in film, it corrects them, but they learn pretty quickly. They learn quickly, too, and then, with seniors, it's always like the standard's been set and they should know by that time. So I am a little bit more patient. That said, I'm not, the paragon of patience in any situation. And these guys know that too. It's got to be urgently covered, whatever the task is. So I guess a little bit. When I go into freshman and sophomore practices, I'm more patient. But if you're a sophomore or freshman playing varsity, nobody's got sympathy for you in terms of the speed in which you figure things out. So you figure them out at senior speed, whether you're 14 like Jackson or 15 or 16 like Carson or Jared. Jared just turned 16 on Thanksgiving Day. Or, you're 18. You're a grown man like Big Boy here.
Nope, not 18 yet.
17 still?
Yeah, February.
Okay.
After the first win against Jacobs, what do you think will change most for your team going forward, and how will that affect you guys?
Josh, what do you think?
I think that we gained a lot more confidence. Obviously, we were able to score the ball a lot better that game, so I think that we've kind of broken that barrier. We know we can score a lot in games now. And then again, like Coach said, I think a lot of people kind of really performed well. I know Dylan Carlquist was having a great end of the tournament. So stuff like that, people just opening people's eyes and stuff will really that'll come out later in the season.
And one thing we were talking about as a team is everybody's opportunity is not created equal. Shout out Tom Nelson for that quote. But some guys are going to have to maximize their output in 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and some guys are going to get 12 or 14 minutes. Some guys might get 25 minutes. But what you do with those minutes is the most important thing. It's not equitable across the board. And I don't think that's what anybody wants, is to go 5 in, 5 out and have everybody play equal time some bizarro AHYBA scrimmage. If they're produced, they want to be on the floor more. And that's the part of the challenge of competitive sports at the varsity level. So.
Yeah, and this week you guys have your first in-conference game away at Rolling Meadows. How have you guys been preparing for that this week? And, I've noticed, too, just at the beginning of the year, you've gotten to play a lot of good teams right at the start. That's got to help you guys, too.
Yeah, I think it will help us moving forward. So in this, 3-game stretch of Rolling Meadows, New Trier, who's a top 10 team in state, and then, Barrington, who's kind of the cream of the MSL crop, having been in the championship game last year and not having lost very many guys. These games are going to make us better. And then after this week, we go Wheeling, Prospect, St. Viator, 3 games that we all desperately want to win. Well, how do we get on that trajectory of improvement? And I think playing the best teams in the state, or teams that are bigger and harder to score on, or are going to play us zone, are going to give us that opportunity to improve. And we're trying to take things in 4-minute segments right now. So with Rolling Meadows, they're obviously huge across the board. 6'7", 6'7", 6'6", 6'5", 6'3". So we have to use our speed to our advantage. They're probably going to zone trap us a little bit. We know that's been an Achilles heel in the first couple games. So we've been practicing with that, giving the guys benchmarks to go against with points per possession and limiting turnovers and things like that. But we got to make some shots too. We can't pass up open shots, and kind of just look around to see who's going to turn the ball over. We got to shoot the ball when we're open and kind of maximize those opportunities. But that said, Meadows is a really good team. Coach Katovich does a great job, and then those guys play hard, so they have a lot of athleticism in the purple and gold this year.
One thing, too, Max isn't there anymore, right? His brother is.
Cam.
Yeah.
Josh, do you have an opinion? Would you think Cam potentially could get better than his brother, or who would you say overall has the highest floor?
I'd still say Max. Obviously, he has the height advantage and stuff. I just feel like he was more dominant and just more of a well put together player all around. So
Cam's kind of quiet. That's what I've noticed. He doesn't he's not as flashy, I feel as Max, in the sense that he just kind of keeps it low key when he goes out there and stuff.
And this is the time in his career when Max really stepped up from, all right, I'm a sophomore, I'm going to kind of defer to these other guys and, have to dominate when I need to all right, this is my game, my team. And I think Cam is getting into that role, having watched them in the Fenton tournament too. When they got down a little bit against Wheaton South, he started kind of taking more initiative. But he's got a lot of guys around him, man. Orlando Thomas is a stud. Mark Wilson, Nikolic is good. And then, they have a freshman on varsity in their starting lineup too. And then they got some really talented guys. But, Cam is still the belle of the ball over there in RM.
Another thing Dirk and I noticed, actually, when we were looking at the schedules, you guys are starting off on a honestly really large road trip, the 4 Palatine tournament games, and now you have 3 more in a row. Kat, do you notice, do you think it bothers the team? Do you find it to change anything when you guys have that many away games in a row?
Well, I don't really, to be honest, no one on the team has really experienced a full Hersey Gym home game, so we really don't have anything to compare it to, and honestly, that's probably a good thing because it's all just the same to us. We're just playing basketball no matter where it is.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. There's never been Orange Crush distractions or your girlfriend's in the stands distractions or whatever the case is. So I think road games just are like any other games, kind of like last year. Now the crowd and environments add to it a little bit. And like Josh said, there were some good crowds, for the Palatine game, and Stevenson had some fans and things like that. I just want to make sure, when we do come home and our product kind of takes center stage here at Hersey, we're ready to be a product that people can be proud of. So again, we're going through these tests this week, and then when we get Wheeling here for the home opener, that's something that I think is going to be a big game for us, and to be ready to compete in front of our home crowd.
Yeah, definitely. And Josh, I don't know if you know this, but we had other Josh Bonji on the pod last week.
Yep.
All of us went to Thomas, and I know you two especially have been playing basketball now, forever. So would you say that definitely has to help your chemistry when you guys are playing on the court? And how has that really evolved over, the past couple of years?
Well, yeah, unfortunately, Josh probably won't be on the court this year at all. And, but like you said, I've known him forever. I'd probably consider him my best friend, honestly. So
they're neighbors too.
Yeah.
Yes. We're next door neighbors. So yeah, he's just a guy that knows me really well, and he knows what my strengths are and what my weaknesses are. So if I come on the bench, he'll be right there to tell me what I need to do better, what he knows I'm capable of doing better. So I think that's really helpful coming from him.
Yeah, and I think Josh Bonch has done a great job, talking to guys when they come out of the game. And I think that as much as players need to hear from coaches too, Josh understands what the coaches want from a coaching standpoint. He's in the hallway with us preparing at halftime and timeouts and quarters and things like that, outside of the player huddle. So he kind of gets both sides of it and can kind of be that bridge of the gap between the coaches and players. So I think it's a really beneficial thing to have. And now obviously this is not, Josh's preferred role, but he's making the most of his opportunity too, to be able to work with guys like Kat and Braden and Fiore, guys he's been playing with for a long time.
Yeah, sure, I can ask it. One last thing, Josh, before we get into Coach Scott's favorite portion.
Oh, yeah.
What is your favorite Hersey basketball memory?
Well, other than the Braden dumpster incident,
That's a perennial favorite, I have a feeling, of this group.
That's probably going to get brought up quite a bit this year.
yeah. No, I'd say honestly, like the second time that we beat Prospect last year was crazy because like
That was the one at Hersey, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, like they're always like a really solid team, and I think just like beating them just like meant something different. And also like after the game, just like being in the team room and Coach Scott walked in and just got absolutely like drenched with Gatorade and water and all sorts of stuff, and I think he had no idea it was coming too. So that was just that was a really fun memory.
Yeah, that was a fun time. And hopefully, that game's always circled on our schedule. But that said, I think it's circled on Prospect's schedule too. But those games are awesome. I saw Prospect play last night against Lake Zurich, and Prospect has some nice pieces. They'll be solid. Especially obviously over there in Gene Walker Fieldhouse. They love to promote the facility there, but that game circled for sure.
All right, so now on to honestly everyone's favorite part of this.
This is like not just my favorite part of the podcast, but like arguably my favorite part of the week.
Yeah, like this. I love this. This is literally hilarious. New questions too this week, and this first one is for both of you, not just.
I love the originality of the Connors, man. They bring the variety. You never know what you're going to get out of these two.
All right, first question: favorite Thanksgiving food?
Probably just some good mashed potatoes.
Yeah,
Really?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Stuffing.
Yeah,
See,
stuffing's up there for sure.
Stuffing. Like this year, my wife's gluten-free, so she made like a gluten-free stuffing. Low-key, not good. But, with my father-in-law, he made the actual stuffing too. Like, so we accommodate Kelly, and she gets her gluten-free stuff, but we need the real thing too. Like, give me all the glutens, all of them.
All right, bringing this one back from last week, Josh, who is your celebrity crush?
Ooh.
I'd have to just go with Rihanna, to be honest.
Rihanna?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, so
That's
you
a
look.
first,
I think that's a. Wait. No, someone random said that last year, actually.
I don't know. I think that might be a first. Now, let me ask you this as a follow-up question. Like, what Rihanna music video, like, really gets you, like... Come on, there's got to be one.
I don't know. I'm not even, like, that big of a music fan, to be honest.
Do you like Rihanna's music, though? Does the voice add an element?
Honestly,
I'm not that big of a Rihanna
honestly, I don't think I could tell you one Rihanna song.
Yeah, she needs to, like, drop something. I don't think she has in, like, 5 years.
Rude Boy? You don't like Rude Boy?
I don't know what that is. I don't think I can name a single Rihanna song.
I like Rihanna's music. Like, she's bangers, man. Bangers
I
on.
would recognize her if she's singing, but I would not be able to.
Yeah, same, probably. This is one of my favorite questions because it always just ends up being really funny. What is a meal you could prepare on your own?
Quiche.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I could do that on my own. Like, yeah, I'm always going off Tracy Dudzik recipe whenever I make that. But I can make some good fried rice, like from the Trader Joe's frozen section.
Ooh.
I could do that, no instructions for sure.
Man, that's original. Yeah, so when my son Lou was born, Mrs. Cataldo brought over a meal that Josh had prepared, a quiche.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Right? And it was wonderful. And he's again, shout out Tracy Dudzik for the quiche recipe in foods. But it was a very good quiche. If you don't know what quiche is, many of our players didn't. It's essentially egg pie, as Banshee described it as. But, it's a nice flaky crust.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Like baked to perfection.
Yeah.
I've heard of it. I've never tried it, though.
Let Cat make one for you. Let Cat make one for you. He can really bring it quiche-wise. He knows what he's doing. He puts the apron on, gets the chef hat going.
Big chef.
So, Josh, who is your favorite NBA player? It could be current or, throwback too.
I don't really have anyone like currently, but probably throwback, honestly, would be Kevin Garnett.
Okay,
Ooh.
that's
He's just like,
pick.
just like a Chicago kid, but he's just like, he just brings like crazy energy every time, and like he's always
I like that
trash talking everyone, and I just really like the way he plays.
Speaking of trash talking, we didn't ask this one last week.
I like this one.
Best trash talker on the team. This is brought back from last year. Wags was like the consensus. Him and Ebo.
Yeah.
Consensus last year.
Totally different styles of trash talk.
Yeah.
Ebo was like made sure everybody heard everything he had to say, whereas
Wags is
would,
like
he was like the dirt under your fingernails,
Yeah.
where you like couldn't get rid of him, and then he would like add in like little punches,
Yeah.
little jabs as he goes. Where like Ebo was throwing haymakers. Ebo would like go after like your girlfriend or your parents or something. Like he was throwing the big shots. But this year, I don't know. That's a good question for Kat.
I don't know, man. It's not Jimmy McCoo, that's for sure.
Yeah, Jimmy.
He'll be like the kind of guy to just be like on the free throw line and be like, "Hey, your shoe's untied."
Just like the classics, just
Yeah.
playing the hits.
Yeah, I don't know though. Honestly, Jared Rigg is pretty. Like,
I knew
fire.
you were gonna say that because that's what my answer would be.
Uh-huh.
That kid is
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was funny in our team roles meeting. Braden was telling a story about Jared Riggs trash talking when we were playing Prospect this summer, and Jared went into the game for a little bit and was like, started talking trash to Owen Schneider, and then Braden went back in and Owen Schneider was like, "Who the hell is this kid? Like this little guy?" He's like, "Oh, it's Jared Riggs." He's like, "Tell him to shut up."
I remember that. Because he came up. He's like, "I was talking so much trash." Like, why? Like, what do you?
I think it gets him going.
Yeah,
it
definitely does.
What about C. Grove? Does Carson talk at all?
No, I don't think he talks. He's just
none of the guys in my grade I can think of are like. Yeah, no. I don't remember. We never really had. Maybe like Ryan back in the day, but like no one else ever really like got into it like that. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think Grove's more worried about not wetting his pants. To be honest.
What about like? Did you guys talk more in football? I feel like in working the sidelines, like there's so much trash talking going on in football.
Well,
it's like,
shout out
becomes annoying.
Shout out Jack Armstrong. I know he does it a lot. He's the one. I mean, he's just bad at it like in general. So like. The second he gets to hit someone,
I mean, it's just different on like the basketball court though, because like, you're literally just under a microscope. Like everyone, it's so much easier to see everything.
Yeah, I think you can get away with a lot more.
Not to mention people can hear you on a basketball court.
Right.
Which is a big thing.
Right.
While we're on the topic of the team, who would you say, this is also brought back from last year, who would you say has best chance at becoming president someday?
Jack Genualdi.
Oh, yes, easy.
Yep.
Jack Genualdi.
Yep.
If you haven't seen Jack Genualdi, he's on the National Hispanic Honor Society board, right by the main office. Shout out Jack for that accomplishment.
I'm kind of upset that I wasn't notified about that whole thing.
Yeah, he's on there though. Yeah. He's got a great chance to be president. Good diplomat.
I could honestly genuinely see that 100% from Jack.
Yeah. So we'll see if he wants to be political science. I know he's like a business guy. I think he'll be a good like entrepreneur, startup guy. But I think he's he could wear the flag pin on his lapel.
100%. For sure. Chuck's definitely a good answer for sure.
Animal call first lady.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see.
Favorite vacation spot?
I said Washington D.C. last week, so you can't get worse. You can't get worse than that.
I saw that. Pretty brutal. This isn't really like a vacation spot, but I went to Alaska over the summer.
That's pretty.
It was crazy. Like, yeah, just like mountains everywhere, and like it's way different than like Colorado or some place that's in like in the United States, because like when you're in Colorado, like you're at the top of a mountain and you look down, you see like a Walmart down there or something. But like in Alaska, like there's just nothing. It's crazy.
Walmart. All right.
Or Come and Go. Shout out Come and Go.
Okay, yeah, Come and Go.
I've never been to one. I've honestly never been to those like West Coast places. Like I've never done the In and Out. Never done anything like that. Like,
you're a big Come and Go guy. That's popular in Iowa too.
Oh, really?
Quick Trip is the Wisconsin gas station. Anybody who's been to Quick Trip knows what I'm talking about.
I've been to
if you've been to Wisconsin or like up north in Wisconsin, Quick Trip, KT, man, got me through college. Love that place. Shout out KT.
All right, final one here, Josh. This is sort of a doubleheader. What is your favorite drill in practice, and what is your least favorite drill in practice?
Honestly, my favorite one is probably just like a good like 5-on-5-on-5, and then like winner stays, because like when you just got like a good group going and you're like competing and like winning on both ends of the court, like it's just like really fun, and yeah, it's just a great like competitive drill. Least favorite would probably be Hell in a Cell, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
That's horrible.
I think all the post guys would agree with that. It's a post-only drill where it's like, just one-on-one in the post with like 3 passers on the outside, and they play to 3, but there's no breaks. Like, it's exhausting.
Yeah, I do. I remember that. I do remember that one.
It's that Hell in a Cell. Like the name says it all. And like after the drill, like all the post guys are like, "Man, we need a water break." It's like that scene from Remember the Titans, like water now.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's good for them to learn how to work in the post and defend the post too. Like gets really competitive as well. No one likes losing that drill as much as they hate the actual drill itself. No one wants to lose it.
All right, well, that is going to wrap up the unscripted portion. Before we go today, guys, do you have any shout-outs you'd like to say?
Well, I have actually one additional question that I've prepared for Josh today as well. I told Coach Bonchi I'd asked this for him. He talking to him in the training room yesterday. He's like, you got to ask Bonch if there's anybody on his Christmas shopping list outside of his family. So I have to ask Josh, is there anybody you plan on buying a Christmas gift for that's outside your family?
Most likely, I will be buying a gift for someone outside my family.
Can we get a name of who that person might be?
Shout out Cassidy T.
Cassidy T. Huge fan of the pod. I had Cassidy in class. World-class student, world-class person. You can see her on all the SOS Instagram commercials. She's like a starlet out there. All right? So shout out Cassidy T. Might be getting a gift from Josh. All right, keeping that kind of low-key here, but, you heard it here first on the Hersey Hoops pod. All right, shout out CT. Also, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Coach Pardon. Great career. Just kind of announced his resignation from that head coaching position yesterday. So I want to ask Josh, with the football perspective too, like what makes Coach Pardon so great? Like what was Coach Pardon's best quality that Hersey football is going to miss?
Well, I know I told him this the last night that I played football. I told him he's the best leader I've ever had in my life, and I really truly believe that. Like his leadership qualities are just like unlike anything I've ever seen. I mean, just the way that he could like command the attention of like literally like 60 kids is just like crazy. I remember one time we were practicing outside, and then the Thor guard went off, and we had to like go in the field house, and no one was really sure what to do. We were all just kind of like crowded around the door, and we were just like waiting for Pardon. And so Pardon came in, and I think he didn't have anything to say to us at the time. He was just kind of like walking across the field house to talk to the other coaches. There was a huge crowd of kids in front of the door, and he just walked in, and I mean like the seas just absolutely parted for him. Like he was like Jesus Christ. Like, everyone just like moved out of the way, and once he passed everyone just started following. Like just. Yeah, best leader I've ever had.
And I think, in my time, working alongside Coach Pardon as a colleague, like there's a great leadership quote, like don't lead by, examples of your power, but lead by the power of your example. And like that, with the way a coach talks to people, the way he approaches things, his level-headedness, managing his staff too. Like he's got some wild dogs on staff too.
That's what my friends are kind of saying.
Managing Rupp and Tooch and Tom and Kuhn and everybody, like there's all those personalities, and that they're all bought in for the same mission, and he keeps everybody looking for that same goal. And I think that's Coach Pardon's gift, and his family's win in this case is, Hersey football's loss. Like he's a great leader of high school kids. He had a great quote in the paper, like, he loves his daughters more than life itself, which is obviously something we could all identify with, but he feels like he has hundreds of sons, and that's based on the way he's led people. So shout out Joe Pop, man. We love you, brother.
For sure. Great Hersey career at head coach. He's definitely going to be missed next year for sure.
Also, quick shout out. Don't forget to check out Durkin and Coach Pardon's podcast.
Oh, for sure.
Slight little plug.
Yes, sir. We still have.
I think that's the only thing that made Pardon nervous is podcasts.
I can't believe he seemed like good in them. Like I've never gotten.
He would get like stressed out. Wow. He's like, oh man, these podcasts give me stress. I don't know what they're gonna ask. I'm like, dude, it's high school football.
I was talking to him about this. I'm very curious to see who I'm gonna have to interview next year for those. Very curious.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. I didn't.
I was talking to Cohen about it, and we were both very intrigued to see.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in for our second episode of the year, Hersey Hoops. Josh, Coach, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
This morning.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
So, with all that being said, we will see you guys in the next one.